You can have the best idea in the entire world. You can have an idea for a video or a commercial that will change the world forever, but if your client can't see your vision, it'll never get approved, it'll never get made. Most likely, you became a creative person, a videographer or a photographer or a director. You became this person because you can see ideas happen in your mind. And it may be hard to imagine, but your clients don't have that same ability. When you start describing your videos to them, their mind is going blank. They're not seeing anything like you are. This is why creative storyboards exist. It's to help your clients see the vision in your head so that they can feel confident about it and approve it. And with this process that I'm about to break down for you, you don't have to be a world-class artist. You don't even have to know how to draw. I certainly don't know how to draw, but I use this all the time to pitch and win big budget projects. If we haven't met yet, my name is Reese Hopper. I'm a commercial producer, and I've used this very same process to pitch and win $3 million worth of projects over the course of my career with DJI and Nike, Adidas, the Chainsmokers, tons of other amazing brands. And so today I'm going to give you my exact 3-part workflow to create these creative storyboards that get your vision approved. So let's get into it. This is part 1 of 3. It's about getting your vision out of your head and onto a piece of paper. Unfortunately, too many creatives center their ideas around just one cool shot. So since they just have one cool idea that isn't connected to a greater storyline or to the product, when the client starts poking at it, the pitch falls apart. What I'm going to show you next is what I call a video plan, and I learned this from a masterclass, believe it or not. They encourage their students to think about their videos in 2 parts. What you see and what you hear. And if you can clearly explain what you see and what you hear, you've done 90% of the work to get your client to get on board with your vision. So let me show you real quick what this looks like. So we're going to start with just a big line down the middle of the page. On the left, it's going to be what you see, and on the right, it's going to be what you hear. I created a spec commercial storyboard concept for a Bud Light commercial, and I'm going to use that to fill out this page today. So we'll just take it shot by shot. We have a dark, bubbly beer sitting on a barrel. That's what you see. That's our opening shot. Then on the right side, we're going to write down what you hear, which is a voiceover. And the voiceover says, "Myth tells us of a beer so heavy, ... Then we'll go on to the next shot. Do the VO again here just so you can see that. Myth tells us of a beer so heavy, only the chosen one could lift it. On the left side here, we'll talk about the shot, which is a line of strange fantasy creatures. So this is obviously like an old-timey medieval play. It's kind of a spin-off of King Arthur pulling the sword out of the stone, but instead it's like a really heavy beer. So then our next shot would be like a montage of strange beings failing to lift the beer. And then our VO would say, brave beings traveled from lands far away to test their strength. Boom. So we've got our first 3 shots here. We've got a shot of a dark bubbly beer sitting on a barrel. We've got a line of strange fantasy creatures. And we have this montage of strange beings trying and failing to lift up the beer because it's too heavy. Then we would take this and we would say, but none could, we'll say, muster the might to lift this heavy beer. Oh no, they couldn't pick it up. And then the shot for that is like ugly creatures in dismay, failing and walking away. So that's the first half of our ad right there. We've got our first 4 shots. Now we need to switch it up. So our 5th shot, we're going to have the most hipster dude ever approaches the beer. And the VO will say, until one legendary day. Then in the 6th shot, we'll have hipster dude struggles to lift beer. The 7th shot, we will have him finally picking it up. He holds it up for everyone to see, but nobody is around. Grab a new piece of paper here. We'll go on to our 8th shot. Medieval festival in distance, and everyone is drinking Bud Light. So then the VO would say, everyone realized Bud Light is just better. And that's kind of a play off of the other line, which was until one legendary day, ... He struggles to pick it up. Finally, he picks it up, and then he realizes nobody is there. And the VO says, until one legendary day, everyone realized Bud Light is just better. So that's kind of the punchline. And then our final shot would be hipster dude parties with everybody. So there, just like that, you can easily see how the ad starts, how it ends, where it goes, what the punchline is. You can imagine in your mind what the shots look like, and you can hear in your mind what the VO is going to be saying. And this is going to work really well for anybody. Now, what we're going to jump into next, of course, is adding the images. But if you just did this, if you just sent Google Docs with this kind of information on it, it would really increase the number of projects that I think you will get approved. It's because not only does this make everything really clear for the client, but it also signals to them that you have a plan, that you're not just winging this, showing up with a camera. They're not wasting money. They see that they're spending money on someone who has a plan. Now we're going to move on to part 2, which is pulling visual references to build your storyboard for the client. This is the really fun part for you as an artist because you get to find shots that inspire you and shots that you want to try to replicate for your piece. A really great resource that I use for this most of the time is called ShotDeck. ShotDeck has screen grabs from thousands and thousands of movies. It has hundreds of shots from each of those movies. So if you're looking for a specific kind of character, a certain kind of angle or colors or props or locations, you can probably find it in ShotDeck. So this is what we're going to do with our creative now. Here I've pulled up ShotDeck and we're just going to start by searching, let's say, time period medieval, because this is going to be set in a medieval place. So we'll pull this up and we'll just see kind of what kind of things they have for us, just to find some initial inspiration. I kind of like this kind of shot of like someone carrying an old guy through the rain. Like maybe we could use something like that for when our character tries to lift the beer, but then he's unable to. In my creative, we had a bunch of different ugly kind of characters lining up to try to lift this beer. So let's see. I'm going to try to find if they have Davy Jones, like from Pirates of the Caribbean. Nothing pops up. Let's put in Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest, right? Davy Jones is in that one. So here he is. Here's this great picture of Davy Jones. And I would pull this kind of image to put into my storyboard to communicate to the client that we're going to have some wild and interesting and fun looking characters in the ad. Now, of course, we had a barrel in our shot, so I searched barrel. I'm not seeing a whole lot of barrel props. Let's see if I can get more specific with that. See if anything pops up when I search wooden barrels. Let's see. Wooden barrel. So here's a good shot, another reference of like a gruff-looking dude who's like on the ground next to a barrel. I maybe could use this to show that someone had fallen down trying to lift up the beer. Here's another really good one I could pull. You know, maybe I could grab this one and put it in my deck. I was searching a little bit for a hipster dude on ShotDeck. Now, that stuff's all from movies. I need more of like a caricature. So I'm just going to jump over to Google here, and we're going to pull this guy here. He looks like the most hipster dude of all time. I think he could be a really great candidate to be a reference for us as someone who lifts up this beer. So here's a couple interesting shots. Of course, we have this ending sequence where everyone is at this medieval party drinking Bud Light. So here's a good reference image for that. There's another good reference image here if we need to put people on top of that. So we'll grab both of these. So you're not necessarily looking for all the shots to match each other perfectly or to have the exact same characters in them. We're looking for shots that show the kinds of angles and the kinds of props and people that help get your creative idea across. Now, obviously, you know that you could take this way more creative directions, but you also need to understand that the client can't always see that. And when you're creating a storyboard for creative approval like this, sometimes it's best to pull images that are pretty literal. You know, they might be on the nose, just showing exactly what is in the frame, but this is just to get the initial creative thumbs up. And then once you get in there, once you start shooting, you can get creative. You can get creative with the edit and make something that really is true to your vision. But don't sacrifice the approval of the project because you're trying to get super specific with your vision too early. You know, a lot of that stuff will come later. And once the client sees that they can trust you and sees that you're in control, they'll let you do that stuff. They'll give you that creative leeway. But for now, just try to find shots that clearly show the angle, characters, and the props that you're going to need to get the creative vision approved. So now we're going to jump into ChatGPT to have it create images that are a little bit more specific, that include the product that we need to have in the ad. So for this one, I might say, make me an image of a Bud Light beer sitting on a barrel, wide 16:9 aspect ratio, outdoors in the woods, bright light shot from a low angle. We'll say trees in the background. Pop that in there and we'll see what it creates. So here it is. You can see that ChatGPT spat out something that is serviceable, definitely enough to get the idea across to the client. Now, what I just realized is that it's not supposed to be a Bud Light. It's supposed to be a dark, heavy beer sitting on a barrel. So we'll say, swap the Bud Light with a dark, heavy, bubbly beer in a glass sitting on the barrel. Make the scene darker as well with more trees in the background. pop that in there. We'll see what it comes out with. Okay, so here's what we've got. We've got this nice dramatic shot of this dark bubbly beer sitting on a barrel. I think that's a great opening establishing shot for us. We'll use that in our storyboard that we're going to build in a moment. So here's an image that I pulled from Shot Deck. Now this is one I think is from the Dungeons and Dragons movie where this woman is looking down at this guy. And so what I could do with ChatGPT is ask it to brighten up this image, make the woman looking down at a dark beer on a barrel, keep it in the wide format. This is something that could work for us here that it created. This is this person looking, you know, somewhat discouraged, looking down at this dark beer because they can't lift it. This is going to get the shot idea across of there's people approaching it, trying to lift it, but they're unable to. So here's our super hipster guy. We're going to put this guy in the same wooded environment just to give the idea that he's the one who's trying to lift up the beer. So I could say, put this man in a wide format wooded environment. You don't even have to spell the word environment right, and it'll make it for you. And then here, so this is serviceable for us. It gets the idea across. Okay, now this new character enters the scene. Now I want a new one. Let's say this is a close-up, low-angle image of this hipster man's face in a wooded forest, straining like he's working really hard. And this gives us something good. This kind of looks like Harry Styles, like a hairier version of Harry Styles, doesn't it? So that's going to be a good image for us to put in our storyboard. Then finally, we can ask it to do a wide shot of the man standing alone with jeans on in the forest, holding the dark glass of beer with no one around. It can create this. Now we can just keep asking it to create similar stuff. Create a similar shot, but zoom out super wide so we can see the man is all alone in the forest. This is a good one that I think is going to work for us. High angle looking down. He is holding the dark beer in a glass up towards the camera, triumph on his face. So this could be a great shot for us to show that he finally lifted up the beer. So this is going to work for us to insert this hipster character into our storyboard. Now we just need to adjust a couple of those shots that we pulled of the medieval party at the end to put a bunch of Bud Light in there. So here's this shot that we found earlier. I'm just going to right click and copy this image. I'll jump over here to ChatGPT. Make these characters holding blue Bud Light cans. See what it does. So here it is. It basically took the shot almost verbatim, added just a couple random little artifacts and things in there, but ultimately they're all holding Bud Light cans and it looks still pretty good, which is, you know, ChatGPT has come a long way as far as this stuff. I was trying to do this a couple years ago and it just wasn't satisfactory, but now it looks pretty good. For the most part, it keeps the quality of the shot. So I want to take this shot here and put our super hipster guy in it. So I'll say swap the woman on the left with our hipster dude from before, make him and the old man holding blue Bud Light cans. See what it comes up with now. Okay, so I didn't specify close enough that I didn't want the hipster dude wearing the same dress as the woman. So let's jump in and do that. So I just repasted the original image here. It says, looks close, put the hipster dude in his original outfit from this shot, shirtless with the red suspenders and jeans. So we'll see what it comes up with now. So there it is. That's an awesome ending money shot here with us. It's just going to show that the guy also decided to put down the dark beer and just go enjoy the fun party with the Bud Light instead of the super heavy dark beer. So all these images that we pulled and that we adjusted with ChatGPT, these are all going to work for us. Now we're going to put this into a quick storyboard. Let me do that for you real quick. So here's the finished concept storyboard that would be great to show your client for concept approval. We've got our shots in each of the slots. We've got our shot descriptions in italic, and then we have our voiceover in bold. And we can just take a look at it here. A shot of a dark bubbly beer in a glass on a barrel. Voiceover from a gruff, mystical sounding old man. Myth tells us of a beer so heavy only the chosen one could lift it. Once it shows a long line of strange medieval characters. Then we have a mini montage of medieval beings trying to lift the beer but failing. The voiceover says brave beings traveled from lands far away to test their strength. Then we would show creatures failing and then crying and walking away in dismay, but none could muster the might for this heavy beer. And then we have the most hipster dude ever approaches a beer. Other creatures crane their necks to watch. And the voiceover says, until one legendary day, he struggles, but then he finally picks up the beer. He holds it up for everyone to see, but then you can see that he's disappointed because you zoom out to show that he's standing alone. Nobody is around. Then we cut to a Bud Light branded medieval outdoor beer garden in the distance. All the previous characters are hanging out laughing. They turn and they wave to the hipster dude. Voiceover says, everyone realized Bud Light is just better. And then we have our final shot of the hipster dude in the crowd, smiling with his new friends, holding the Bud Light. So for your client who can't see videos in their head, this is going to be a gold mine for you because of all the people you're pitching against, this is the most clear, the most concise. This is the thing that helps them see something that they can get excited about, see something in their own mind, And once they start imagining it, they're doing the work for you. Now, of course, this kind of creative page is just one page in a larger creative concept pitch deck. You've got this clean storyboard. Now it needs to fit within the larger story of you and your services, what you're going to achieve and how much it costs, how long it takes, how you're going to do it. That's what you really need a great pitch deck for. I have a great product called the Pitch Deck Pack that a lot of creatives have already purchased. It's 5 pitch deck templates with different design and copywriting prompts for 5 different business models. No matter what kind of client you're pitching, these pitch deck templates will help you show up in a really organized way. So remember, with these storyboards, the storyboard is not totally the point. It's not about you showing how brilliant you are or showing how interesting your ideas are or the most esoteric shots that you can pull. It's not about that. The point of these storyboards is to help the client see what you see in your brain. If they can see it in their own brain, then they trust you. And if they trust you, then they're going to approve the project. They'll give you the resources to make it happen. You'll grow your portfolio. It's a win-win for everybody. And as I mentioned, once your board is built, the last step is dropping it into a pitch deck that makes really good sense. That's why I put together the Pitch Deck Pack, which is a great product that a lot of other creatives have already purchased. It's got 5 fully editable templates. It works with Google Slides like we were doing in this video today. I also have versions for Keynote. It's going to save you hours and hours of copywriting and design time. You just click on the images and drop yours in there. You paste your copy in there, format it a little bit, and then you're set to go. Instead of spending days on pitch decks, you can just push one out in a couple hours. If you're interested in that product, it is linked right below this video. And if you want more of this kind of thing, I send a short email every Tuesday called Freelancers Only. It has one story or framework that I've developed in my career and I package it up for you. It goes out every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Over 2,000 other smart freelancers have already signed up for it. The link to sign up is in the description below. But for now, just remember, stop trying to describe the video in your head and just take an hour to build a storyboard like this and your ideas will get approved. Thanks for checking out this video. Make sure you subscribe because in my next video, I'm going to talk about what it takes to produce and budget for a campaign just like what we just created. See you soon.